Hey TPT sellers, in this episode, I'm going to explain how the location of your keyword in your title impacts or boosts your TPT SEO. I'm going to show you exactly how the TPT SEO algorithm calculates a score for you. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you actionable tips for you to play around with your TPT product titles. My name is Mike Fuchigami. I'm the host of the SEOTpreneur YouTube community. A TPT seller emailed me yesterday and they said, "Thanks again for being the only TPT seller on YouTube with worthwhile advice and tools to really look at the numbers and business side of things. It's appreciated." A lot of you are enjoying this Sunday TPT SEO series. I think what makes this channel a little bit different is that we're talking about things that other TPT sellers are not. Thank you to everyone who's left a comment or emailed me to let me know what you think about the channel, because that helps me decide what kind of content to create. If you learn something new about keyword position on TPT SEO, please leave a comment either publicly on YouTube or reply to the email newsletter. So I'm encouraged to keep on making more of this kind of content. I have found the developer manual for the TPT SEO search engine. They use a company called Algolia. Algolia has 8 rules to figure out if your TPT product is relevant to the search term that a teacher types in the search bar. In our first episode, we looked at typos. That could mean spelling differences. If you don't match the exact keyword, you are at a disadvantage. We need to tinker and experiment on TPT Search to type up synonyms of our words. We can't just assume that will rank well for synonyms. Verb tenses matter. So inference, inferring, inferencing. You can't just assume that you'll show up for all variants of a word. You have to go into TPT Search, type some words, and see what gets highlighted in the results. The second rule in Algolia Search is geography. This is like when you look on a map to find coffee shops and it shows you the closest coffee shops around you. Based on experiments in that video and other videos, I don't think this feature is turned on anymore, but I do wonder if it played a role in the TPT personalization experiment. The third TPT SEO rules might be words, specifically how many words in your TPT product title match the number of words searching for. And what I learned from that episode is that keyword density does not matter at this level of the game, but I also suspect at any level of the game. So having the keyword in multiple times, I don't think is a ranking factor. But if you want to rank for a long tail keyword, you need to have all words in your product title if you want a competitive advantage. Last week, we looked at rule number 4, which is about filters. And we learned that if you're not in the category being searched up, you don't show up for the search at all. You don't go past this step. We learned that if you click any of the menu items at the top, like math or elementary science, the TPT system automatically assigns those categories. And so then your resource won't show up unless you match the categories. Today in episode 5, we're going to talk about this proximity rule. It's not enough to have the words in your title. The question is, how close are the keywords in your title? If you've learned something new in that overview, please like the video. It sends a signal to other TPT sellers who haven't found our YouTube community that this is content worth checking out. This episode is for TPT tadpoles, TPT hamsters, TPT hawks, because whether or not you get sales depends on whether or not your resource gets seen. If your resource doesn't get seen, no one's going to buy. I know lots of TPT sellers out there are talking about the importance of keywords. In this video, I'm going to show you how that proximity score is calculated. By knowing how the TPT search algorithm works, you can start thinking about how to best construct the keywords in your title. So let's talk about proximity. The Algolia developer manual says that for a query with 2 or more words, proximity to how near those words are to each other in the matching record. This criterion prioritizes records that have words closer to each other. Let's look at how the TPT search algorithm works with a 2-word search phrase. Imagine a teacher types in math activities into the search bar. One resource has the title math activities, and then another resource has the title math lesson/activities. The TPT search algorithm looks at words in your title. It doesn't care about punctuation. The punctuation and the spaces are not considered. In the first title, math activities, the words math and activities are 1 word apart. In the next title, math lesson activities, the words math and activities are 2 words apart. The TPT SEO algorithm looks at your proximity score and then it says the lower score is better. So in this case, a resource with math activities will rank better than math lesson and then that bar symbol and then activities. Okay, Mike, well, what happens if a teacher is searching up more than a few words in their phrase. For example, back to school math activities. In this case, the Algolia blog says, the proximity criterion's value is the sum of the proximity of all pairs of words that are next to each other. If a teacher searches up back to school math activities, then the proximity score looks to see how close are the words back and to in your TPT product title. And it takes that score and it adds it to the score for the proximity of to and school. And then it adds it to the proximity score of school and math. So how close is the word school and math in your product title? And then finally, it looks at math and activities. How close are those words in your product title as well? And it adds up those scores to come up with the proximity score. Let's calculate the proximity score for two hypothetical TPT product titles. Fun math activities, back to school, 3rd, 4th grade, or first day of school activities, math, back to basics. Both of these titles have 9 words in the keyword. Both of these titles have the 5 words that are being searched for in a different order. Search engine optimization is about giving our TPT products the best chance to show up higher in TPT search. But it's impossible to optimize for all keyword phrases that you're going after. So what this means is you have to choose a primary keyword that you want to rank for. And in next week's episode, I'm going to explain how we know that your primary keyword should be at the very beginning of your title and your product description. Right now, let's calculate the proximity score for these keyword titles. First, we have to look at the proximity score for the words back and to. In the title, Fun Math Activities, Back to School, 3rd, 4th grade, we can see that the proximity score would be 1. Back and to are 1 word apart. Then we have to calculate the proximity score for to and school. And in this case, the words are also 1 word apart, so they get a score of 1. The third step is we look at where the words school and math are in the product title. In this case, we can see they are 4 words apart. The proximity score is 4. Finally, we look to see where the word math and where the word activities is in your TPT product title. In this case, we can see they're 1 word apart. So overall, the product title, Fun Math Activities, Back to School, 3rd, 4th grade, has a proximity score of 7 when someone is searching up back to school math activities. Well, what about the other example? First day of school activities, math, back to basics. How close are the words back and to? They are 1 word apart. How close are the words to and school? In this case, they are 4 words apart. There are 4 steps between school and to. What about the proximity pair of school and math? In this case, they're 2 words apart. And finally, between math and activities, they are 1 word apart. So this gives us a proximity score of 8. So if there were 2 titles, at this rule, they get sorted by the proximity score, and a lower score is better because it means your words are closer together. So in this search example, Fun Math Activities, Back to School, 3rd, 4th grade with a proximity score of 7 would rank higher for the teacher searching for back to school math activities. And then I learned that only the first 1,000 words in your product description matter. That's because the TPT search algorithm doesn't calculate a proximity score beyond the 1,000 word point in your product description. The Algolia blog says that they use a single value to store the position of each word in the text and which attribute it came from. Here's what the TPT database entry will look like for the product title, First Day of School Activities, Math, Back to Basics. Rather than storing it as an entire string variable, the search engine chops it up into each word and it remembers where that word is. In the database, at position 0, they have the word first, because that's the first word of the title. In position 1, day. Position 2, of. Position 3, school. Position 4, activities. Position 5, math. Position 6, back. Position 7, to. Position 8, basics. So that's 9 words because we're starting at 0 and we're not starting at 1. An algorithm is just basically a fancy calculator. To find the distance between 2 words, like back and to, they just take the position location and they subtract them from each other. So the distance between back, which has a position entry of 6, and to, which has a position entry of 7, well, 6 minus 7 equals -1. And whether it's negative or positive tells you the direction of the keywords. The blog goes on to say, we keep the position of the first 1,000 words inside each attribute and associate a number to each attribute. The first attribute will have positions 0 to 999. The second attribute will have positions 1000 to 1999, etc. In this case, when they say attribute, they're talking about searchable attributes. The TPT tells the Algolia software which attributes to look at when it's trying to find these keywords. So for example, title is a huge one. This is probably the number one searchable attribute for TPT Search. It also looks in the description. But because they've only saved 1,000 spaces in their database to break up the title or the product description word by word, this is how we know that if you have more than 1,000 words in your product description, the TPT search algorithm isn't even looking at them. The other thing I learned is that the direction of the words matter. A few interesting things from the blog. They define the distance between two words, A and B, as the shortest distance between any A and B in the record. So A and B may appear more than once, and if that happens, they just look for the best proximity score. But then the Algolia blog goes on to say that we increase the distance by 1 if the match with the shortest distance is not in the queried order. Let's look at this example. So now that we know there's a penalty if the words in your title don't match the direction of the words that the teacher searched for, let's see how that affects our scores. In that first product title, Fun Math Activities, Back to School, 3rd, 4th grade, the score for back 2 is 1, and that's in the same order. Back 2 is the same order that was searched in the search box. The proximity score for to school is also 1 because to school is the same order in the product title. But the proximity score for school math is actually in the opposite order in the product title. So even though they are 4 words apart, there's a penalty of +1 to come up with a proximity score of 5. In the last proximity pair, math activities, these are 1 word apart in the product title, and they're the same direction so the proximity score is 1, and the overall proximity score now is 8. Let's look at the second title, First Day of School Activities, Math, Back to Basics. So the proximity score for back 2 is 1, and that's in the same order, so that's just 1. The proximity score for to school is 5, because the words school and to are 4 words apart, but because they're in the opposite direction in the product title, there's an additional penalty. The proximity score for school math is 2, and in this product title, they go in the same order. There's no penalty. And the final proximity score for math activities is 2 as well. Although they are only 1 word apart, because they're going in reverse order, there's a penalty of 1 point. If we add up the proximity scores, this title has a proximity score of 10. So you can see that as you construct your product title, you'll have to make some decisions here on which keywords to go after. The distance between the words matter, but also the order of the words matter. And of course, a lower score is better, and so then they'll get sorted to the front of the group. If you've learned something new about keyword position, can you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on other episodes? If you've already subscribed, can you hit that alert notification bell and set it to always so you get a notification anytime there's new content? That action helps the channel to grow because people look at the number of followers as social proof. And if you watch the video right after it gets published, that helps the YouTube algorithm push it forward to other TPT sellers. Let's talk about some of the key takeaways that we've covered in this video. The first takeaway is that we need to put our keywords close together if we want a TPT SEO boost. Remember, you can't optimize for everything, so you're gonna have to make some choices for your primary keyword. On the SEOTpreneur Pro community, we have an exclusive keyword tool. If you hover over down to tools, I just fixed our AI keyword tool so that it can work with the new TPT website. The question is, should I rank for back to school or should I rank for first day of school? If I type back to school, it's loading up popular words from TPT. I'm gonna copy these words, Control-C copy, and I'm gonna put them on my research page, Control-Shift-V. And what I'm looking for are words that have a high popularity rank because they're getting searched a lot. So for example, right now, June 30th, 2024, the phrase back to school has a popularity rank of 4,000. A great popularity score might be something like 10,000. A good popularity score might be 1,000. And then if you're a smaller TPT store like me, we go after popularity scores of 100 because those are easier with less competition. This keyword tool on the right-hand side shows us how many resources there are for this competition word and the average number of reviews, how many reviews the first resource has and how many reviews the last resource has. So it gives us a competitive advantage. Now I'm going to search up the phrase first day of school. That's the keyword prompt. In this case, I can see first day of school has a popularity rank of 882 and the last resource has 1,000 reviews. I'm just going to select these, Control-C to copy, go to my research page, Control-Shift-V to paste it in without formatting. I'm going to compare these. I'm going to call the product line YouTube example, and then I want to also compare first day of school activity. All right, and so now if I go to my strategy page, this gives me a concise overview, and I can see here, look, back to school has a popularity rank of 4,000, and the number of reviews is 939 at the bottom. But first day of school activity, oh, did it not have first day of school? Oh, there's first day of school. Let's add first day of school. So that's the keyword there. Let's go into the research, to the strategy page. So I can see first day of school has a popularity rank of 882, but the last resource has 1,125 reviews. So that's tougher to rank for. At my stage of the game, I don't have products with 1,000 reviews. So I'm never going to be able to rank for back to school or first day of school by itself. I'm going to have to go over a long tail keyword. But if you have a resource with 1,000 reviews, you still have to figure out what's the keyword that has higher search volume, lower competition. And in this case, you want to go after back to school, not first day of school, because not only does it have a higher popularity rank of 4,000 compared to 882, it's also easier to rank for because the bottom resource on that search page has only 939 reviews. So it's easier to rank on back to school than it is to rank for first day of school. Once you realize you can't optimize for everything, you need to do keyword research to figure out what your primary keyword is going to be. And you need to put the keywords together in your primary keyword to get that TPT SEO boost. The second TPT SEO takeaway is to look at the auto suggest to see the order of keywords. If I start to type back to school math, I can see people are looking for back to school math activities, not math activities back to school. Let's even try to type in math activities. You know how sometimes people type math activities and then they realize, oh, I have to be more specific, back to school. So then they add back to school at the end. But if I type that and I start typing back to school, I can see the more popular search term is back to school math activities. Well, now that's interesting. I'm curious now. If I type math activities back to school, can I even get that as a search term? It doesn't even show up because, oh, back to school math activities has a search popularity rank of 63. Let's look up these titles. Control-C to copy. I'm going to put it on my research page. Control-Shift-V to paste it in. So I'm trying to decide if I want to go for math activities back to school or first day of school activities. The actual search term is back to school math activities with a popularity rank of 63. I'm going to call this my YouTube example for my product line. And likewise, I'm going to select first day of school math activities. If I go to my strategy page, it's sorted in popularity. So I can see first day of school math activities has a popularity rank of 47, and it's easier to rank for because it has only 20 reviews at the bottom of the first search page. Back to school math activities has a little bit of a better popularity rank of 63, but it also has a little bit of a worse competition rank of 41. Having said that, the average number of reviews for the products on the first page is 1,290 reviews. So there's no clear-cut answer. Part of this is tinkering around and trying to see which gets you traffic. The third takeaway is that in your product description, any keywords past 1,000 words have zero TPT SEO impact. The TPT search algorithm doesn't even look at them. It can't because the Algolia software only allows 1,000 words in that database entry. Next week, we're going to look at how the TPT search algorithm probably prioritizes keywords at the front of your title and your introduction snippet. If you have any questions, ask them below. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is the kind of content that we produce for the SEOTpreneur YouTube community. Bye-bye now.